Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. All right, guys. Today, I have a list here of elite sleepers. These are smash plays because you're getting these guys in the way later rounds. And in some cases, they're actually going undrafted. And it's just crazy to me how people are sleeping on these guys, considering how much upside they have. So I want to make sure that you guys don't miss out on these players. So I'm going to start right here with the first player on my list, and that is Marvin Mims. Now, this is a guy who obviously has blazing speed, 4.38 40 time. He's a sensational athlete. He has incredible hops and the ability to high point the football and make contested catches because of his elite jumping ability. And he's obviously able to create separation in his routes because he's just faster than any defensive player that's trying to guard him. So this is a sensational athlete with some serious upside to be a very good NFL wide receiver. And in his last season in college, he saw a huge target share bump. He had a 22% team target shares last season in college. This was a very good sign. And, this is a guy who is going to be catching passes from one of the better deep ball throwers that we've seen in the last 20 years in Russell Wilson. Obviously, it didn't look like it last year, but the Broncos were a mess last year. I'm expecting this offense to bounce back and be really darn good this year. I think that, with Tim Patrick being out of the lineup now, Marvin Mims, he's going to have a lot more targets coming his way, right? And, there's a lot of other receivers in this offense like Jerry Jeudy who are going to be catching passes underneath and opening up those deep ball opportunities for Marvin Mims. I really like Marvin Mims in this offense. I think he has some serious breakout potential. And there's a lot of times where he's not going, if you're talking about underdog drafts, a lot of times he's going in like round 14. So he's going really late. And in a lot of your everyday redraft leagues, he might be going undrafted. So this dude is massively slept on. He has serious upside for this season, especially from a weekly ceiling standpoint. So for best ball formats, he's awesome. And even for your everyday redraft leagues, you just got to play the matchups. If he's going up against a team that, has a soft secondary, he can provide huge weeks for you. Next player on my list is going to be Chase Claypool. Now, people are writing Chase Claypool off, and it just baffles me. Look, this guy is 6'4", 240 pounds, and runs a 4.4. From an athletic profile, he's one of the most athletic wide receivers in this entire league. It's just that, you look at the last two seasons, right? The quarterback situation for the Steelers last year was a little bit of a mess. They brought in Mitch Trubisky. It didn't work out whatsoever. Then they, they put Kenny Pickett out there, and they had him, throwing the ball mainly to George Pickens. And Chase Claypool was just kind of, phased out of the offense, right? Because, a big part of Chase Claypool's game is his ability to catch the deep ball and get open downfield. And while Kenny Pickett, I think, has some more upside as an NFL quarterback than I think some people give him credit for, he's not necessarily known for his arm strength. So, that happened last year to Chase Claypool. And then 2021, Ben Roethlisberger in his final year had no arm strength left. So they resorted to dumping off the ball to Najee Harris on like every freaking play in 2021. Chase Claypool's target share went down. Big Ben wasn't able to get him the ball downfield. And so since he hasn't really put up very good numbers since his first year in 2021, people are writing him off, but it is not his fault. It has nothing to do with Chase Claypool. It has to do with the quarterbacks that were throwing in the ball. We now insert a quarterback with an absolutely rocket arm, one of the strongest arms in the entire NFL, and he is not going to have all the defensive attention on him because that's going to be on DJ Moore. This is going to leave Chase Claypool open to feast. I cannot believe this guy is going so late in drafts. He's a monster sleeper. Some of the best upside of any late round pick. You've got to draft this dude in the later rounds. He can actually literally be a league-winning player, and reports are that he's crushing it in camp. If you follow the Bears training camp, Chase Claypool is already going off. Next player on my list is going to be Gus Edwards. Now, I've been telling people to draft Gus Edwards all off season. And, I've gotten a lot of pushback on this, and I don't understand why. Look, this is a dude who has averaged 5.2 yards per carry on a 300-plus carry sample size in his career. He's an incredibly efficient back, and it looks like J.K. Dobbins very well might not play for the Ravens this season. There's all kinds of drama going on in that clubhouse. He's either hurt or he's faking an injury. Or, I really don't know what's going on, but we know he's not happy with his contract situation. We know that even if he somehow gets on the field, he's incredibly injury prone. So, there's a high likelihood that Gus Edwards ends up being the team's running back one this year. And don't worry about Melvin Gordon. He's just there for depth. He's really not going to take that many carries away from Gus Edwards because at this point in his career, Melvin Gordon is washed, and he's never been as efficient from a yards per carry standpoint as Gus Edwards anyway. This team is going to make Gus Edwards their clear-cut bell cow running back one if J.K. Dobbins does not see the field this year. And that's very likely at this point. It's looking like it's more likely than not that J.K. Dobbins does not play this year. And in this case, Gus Edwards could come in and absolutely explode. Again, this guy has averaged 5.2 yards per carry in his career. With teams worried about Lamar Jackson keeping the ball and running, this is going to open up bigger running lanes for Gus Edwards to run through, and this offense has some serious upside to be in the red zone offense, so he has touchdown upside as well. This dude is a smash play in the later round. You've got to draft Gus Edwards. Next and final player on my list is going to be Chase Brown. And, this one is slowly starting to become like my favorite sleeper on the season. I mean, look, we just found out that Joe Mixon is now dealing with a legal situation again. More NFL players that can't stay out of trouble. Now, obviously, it probably won't affect him this season because these things take time to really go into effect, right? It's probably going to be pending throughout the season and not really affect him until next year. But with that being said, it's an additional distraction for the Bengals. It's an additional distraction for Joe Mixon. And this is a running back who I'm trying to tell you guys, he is washed up. He's over 1,300 career carries. His yards per carry efficiency has been going down every single season. Last year, he only averaged like 3.7 yards per carry, or it might have been 3.6. It was something absolutely terrible. He had some of the worst yards per carry efficiency in his career. He had some of the worst yards per carry efficiency in the entire NFL at the running back position. And the offensive line came around in the second half of the season, so it's not like they weren't blocking for him. If you look at his yards after contact numbers, he's not breaking any tackles. His elusiveness is gone. His power is gone. He's not the running back he used to be. And now you have a sensational athlete in Chase Brown running behind him, coming in with fresh legs. I don't see how Chase Brown won't end up taking over this backfield at some point this season. It's going to happen. I mean, this is a guy who you look at his athletic intangibles. I mean, my gosh, his workout metrics. His 40 time, he's in the, a 4.43 40. He's in the 92nd percentile in his 40 time. He's in the 89th percentile as far as his speed score, which is a combination of your speed relative to your size. So he's in the 89th percentile of that with a 108.5 speed score, and a 110 speed score is considered extraordinary. So he's only 1.5 points away from his speed score, which is speed in relation to your size, from being extraordinary. And then he's 95th percentile in burst, and he's super strong, 86th percentile in his bench press. So you've got an all-around athlete with incredible speed, power, elusiveness. He's going to be a very talented running back in the NFL. I honestly think he should have been taken higher in the NFL draft, but they did make it a point to go ahead and go after him, get Chase Brown. A big reason for this is because they know that Mixon doesn't have much time left. And this is the season where we're going to see Joe Mixon fall off and be absolutely worthless. I'm telling you, the dude's washed up. Chase Brown's going to come in and take over this backfield. Do not waste your early picks on Joe Mixon. Wait and draft Chase Brown. Drafting Joe Mixon in the early rounds is a huge mistake. You can get Chase Brown for absolutely nothing in like the very last round of your draft, or the second or third last round of your draft if you're drafting him on an underdog. And he has the upside to come in and be a low-end running back one for this Bengals team. And, I'm telling you, he's going to take over the backfield for Joe Mixon. So, yeah, that's probably my favorite sleeper going forward, or at least he's up there. One of my favorite sleepers. All right, guys, appreciate you guys tuning into the video. Catch you later.